When my mom was sick, the prince from Beijing's elite circles broke up with me and used money to humiliate me. My best friend told me that even poor people should have dignity. We don't care about his money, don't worry. I'll help you get through this. I was deeply grateful to her, but after I turned him down, she immediately blocked me on all my contact methods. When I finally found her after going through so much trouble, she was leaning against the rich kid's shoulder, mocking me. I said I'd help you just to cheer you on. But you're actually after my money. You're so poor and stupid. You might as well just die. In the end, my mother died in the hospital filled with regret. And in my despair, I died in a car accident. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment when that Beijing elite had thrown a check in my face. My best friend, furious, tried to drag me away, but I picked up the check and gave it a big kiss. Thanks for the tip, Prince. Let me know if there's another event like this next time. You're so poor. Just treat this as a handout to a beggar. Jiang Qing, the prince of Beijing's elite circle, looked at me with an air of arrogance. Leaning back on the sofa, he slammed a check down on my face. I instinctively picked up the check that had slipped to the floor and glanced at the amount, 5 million. I blurted out, "How do I cash this check?" Jiang Qing snorted derisively with a hint of contempt. "Just go to the bank." You hick. As soon as I got the answer, before I even had a chance to breathe a sigh of relief, my best friend Yang Yu walked over, knocked the check out of my hand, and launched into a tirade against Jiang Qing. "What's so great about being rich? Our Ning Ning may be poor, but she doesn't care about your money," although it was a reproach. Her tone was so soft and sweet that anyone who didn't know better would have thought she was just being playful. Jiang Qing was a little angry at Yang Yu scolding him. "Take it or leave it. What are you putting on an act for?" I immediately knelt down, picked up the check, and after making sure it was intact, carefully tucked it into my underwear. Feeling the check against my skin gave me a deep sense of security. Then I frantically explained to Jiang Qing, I'd love to, 100 times over. Thank you for the tip, Prince. You really are the best ex in the world. Be sure to reach out to me again if there's another event like this." Yang Yu looked at me with an expression of disappointment. "How did you become so money hungry? You took his money. What's the difference between you and a prostitute?" Hearing her words, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. In my past life, Yang Yu used exactly those words to stop me from accepting the breakup settlement. They even tried to make me feel guilty, telling me that taking money is the same as selling myself. "Your mom definitely wouldn't want you to take such dirty money. You've sold your soul. Who's going to respect you from now on? I know you're here because of your mother's illness. We don't care about his money. Don't worry. I'll help you get through this." I was moved by her seemingly heartfelt advice. In the end, I decided to return the check to Jiang Qing, but I never expected that the next day, when my mom went to pay the rest of the surgery fees, the money my best friend had promised to lend me had vanished without a trace. I looked at my WeChat where she had blocked me and searched for her aimlessly. It wasn't until evening when the hospital issued an ultimatum that Yang Yu finally showed up. She was wearing a haute couture gown and had just returned from a cocktail party, with a rich kid she'd just started dating by her side. Looking at me covered in grime, she sneered, "You really want me to pay for your mom's medical treatment? Are you outsourcing your filial duty? Why should I?" I confronted her with the promises she had made back then, but she was laughing so hard she was doubled over. "I was just joking and you actually took me seriously. I was just trying to cheer you on. But you're actually after my money. You're so poor and stupid. You might as well just die." I was utterly desperate and wanted to leave and find another way, but she called out to me, "Hey, you look kind of pitiful. Why don't you imitate a few dog barks, and I'll lend you the money." I was willing to put up with her abuse, but after I finished, she laughed even more freely. "You really are stupid. I told you to do it. So you did. And you fell for it again. See, I told you she's really stupid. She actually gave up 5 million just because of a few things I said. What an idiot." Amid the mocking laughter, I walked out onto the street in a daze and got into a car accident. Meanwhile, my mother died in despair because there was no money for medical treatment. Long after I died, my spirit lingered, and only then did I realize that even though she was my best friend, Yang Yu had been harboring hatred toward me all these years. She hated me for stealing the guy she liked. She hated that I once dated a prince from Beijing's elite circles. She hated that my teachers and friends had always liked me. What she hated even more was that I'd rather get a hefty breakup settlement. Thankfully, heaven took pity on me and gave me a chance at a new life. In this life, I will make her pay for her crimes with her blood. I clutched the check to my chest and looked at Yang Yu with a mocking expression. So what if I'm out here selling? You couldn't even sell it for this price. Could you? What? Are you jealous? You're crazy. I didn't feel like dealing with her. I just wanted to hurry to the bank to withdraw the money and then go to the hospital to pay the bill. Didn't want to waste a single minute. Wait a minute. I turned to leave. But just then, Jiangqing suddenly called out to me. My heart was pounding. I hoped he wasn't having second thoughts. Yang Yu also thought he was going to have second thoughts and watched me with schadenfreude. Looks like he's trying to back out. TSK. Now you won't be able to get a good price for him either. In life, you have to keep your feet on the ground. There's no such thing as a free lunch. We may be poor, but we want to be poor with integrity. I was covered in cold sweat and didn't feel like responding to her. I looked at Jiangqing anxiously, fearing that he might actually change his mind. But not only did he not do that, he took out a check, scribbled a few lines on it, filled it out, and handed it to me. You're right up my alley. I've decided to give you another 2 million. I was both surprised and delighted. We'd only been in a superficial relationship for a few days. I never would have thought he'd be so generous. He's practically a living incarnation of a bodhisattva. However, this action drove Yang Yu nearly mad with jealousy. Jiangqing noticed it too. Before handing the check to me, he made a point of waving it in front of her. That's 2 million. You know, you don't happen to be short on cash, do you? Are you jealous? But there's no point in being jealous, you won't get a single cent. My best friend was so angry that she clenched her fists and her face turned bright red. With trembling hands, I took the check and tucked it back into my underwear. I ran all the way to the bank, withdrew the money, and deposited it into my account. Then I went to the hospital and paid the bill. The doctor immediately scheduled the surgery, which ultimately went smoothly. Once everything was settled, I sat in the hospital hallway and burst into tears. Finally, I had enough money to pay for my mother's medical treatment, and there was even enough left over to ensure she could enjoy a comfortable retirement for the rest of her life. In my past life, my stupidity caused my mother to die young. So, in this life, I'm determined to make up for it twofold. Mom is recovering very well. Now that we have the money, I don't have to take care of her all the time. We hired a reliable caregiver instead. I also had time to go back to school and attend classes. But as soon as I stepped onto campus, I noticed people staring at me everywhere. Those glances were filled with scrutiny and contempt. I felt left out the whole morning, just as I was at a loss. A classmate I was close with hesitated several times as if wanting to say something. In the end, they showed me the complaints on the confession wall. They say there's a girl at our school who's willing to sell herself to a 50-year-old man for money and even takes pride in it. Normally, no one would have linked this to me. But then a video suddenly surfaced. I opened it and found that it was the part where I snapped at Yang Yu the day I picked up the money from Jiangqing with a smug look on my face. I said, "So what if I'm out here selling myself? You couldn't even command that price." The video had been edited. It didn't show the context, just that brief moment. In that video, I was staring at the money, my eyes sparkling. People who don't know the whole story would surely think I'm a total gold digger. After watching the video, I gave my phone back to my classmate. Then I found the culprit, Yang Yu. She happened to be spreading rumors about me to other people as well. And I heard it clearly. Sigh. I never thought she'd turn out like this. I really did try my best to talk some sense into her. It's all my fault for being so useless. It's just that I feel a little sorry for her after all. That guy looks like he's 50 and he's going bald. I heard you have some unusual hobbies. The classmates who had heard the rumor pretended to gag a few times. then rushed to comfort her. You've done a great job already. She's the one who chose to go down that path. Don't worry about her anymore. Exactly. It's so gross even go for a 50-year-old geezer. I was seething with rage and was just about to go over there and tear her to pieces. But and a somewhat angry male voice said, "Who said I'm bald at 50? Come on out here." It was Jiangqing who spoke. He walked over with an impatient look on his face and glared at everyone. He looked like someone you wouldn't want to mess with. Upon hearing Jiangqing's words, the few people who had been gossiping behind his back began to exchange glances. Except for Yang Yu, everyone else was puzzled, wondering how spreading a few salacious rumors could have offended the crown prince. But Yang Yu knew exactly what was going on. Seeing Jiangqing's grim expression, she was so frightened that her hands began to tremble slightly. But she didn't dare forget the stubborn little innocent persona she was trying to project. So, she steeled herself and met Jiangqing's gaze. "Jiangqing, you're a victim in this too. You must be really angry. Especially since she cheated you out of 7 million. That's really too much. Even though she's my good friend, I have to put our friendship aside and help you get your money back." Jiangqing looked her over, his anger surprisingly subsiding, and smiled maliciously. "I wouldn't have guessed it, but you actually have pretty sound values." Yang Yu thought he was complimenting her, so she smiled shyly. Meanwhile, all the students around him gasped in shock. 7 million, that is undoubtedly an astronomical sum for a student from an average income family. Now they're even more critical of me. I really wouldn't have guessed that Shining was this impressive. She's a total gold digger. She even managed to fool the crown prince. Seeing that she had achieved her goal, Yang Yu was over the moon. When I saw that, I couldn't hold back any longer and just rushed out. When Yang Yu saw me, she instinctively felt a little guilty. "Ning Ning, when did you get here? You weren't supposed to." She clearly hadn't expected me to return to class so soon. Otherwise, they wouldn't be spreading rumors about me so brazenly. I sneered. "What am I not? If I hadn't come, I wouldn't even know how the school was trying to ruin my reputation." As soon as she heard what I said, a look of hurt crossed her face and she began to explain earnestly. "Ning Ning, I'm actually doing this for your own good. Don't you know the saying? Wealth and power cannot corrupt one's integrity. We are poor, but we're poor with a clear conscience. Just pay the money back right away, and you'll still have a clear conscience." But I remained completely unmoved by her moral blackmail. I impatiently picked my ear and held out my hand to her. "If you don't want Jiangqing's money, then give it to me. My mom's medical bills total over 1 million. So, are you going to transfer it or pay in cash?" When Yang Yu saw that I was asking her for money, she got a little flustered. "Ning Ning, are you out of your mind? What gives you the right to ask me for money?" I stopped beating around the bush and pulled up the video of her solemnly promising to help treat my mom's illness. "Ning Ning, don't worry, we don't need his money. I have enough to pay for your mom's medical treatment. Ning Ning, if you take this money, you'll be no different from someone who sells themselves. Ever since I was reborn, I've made all the necessary preparations. I recorded our entire conversation that day." Yang Yu was furious. "You actually recorded this? I was just worried you'd go down the wrong path." "So?" I said it off the cuff. "I don't have that kind of money." I looked at her with disdain. "If you don't have any money, what's the point of even talking about it? My mom's in the hospital right now, and my ex-boyfriend offered to pay me a breakup settlement. What's it to you?" The classmates who were watching could hear every word of our conversation clearly. Once they had figured out the whole story, they all began to discuss it. "This Yang Yu is really quite funny. The crown prince is willing to pay her a breakup settlement, but she's the one who won't accept it. Seeing how enthusiastic she is, I wonder if she's just jealous. But to be honest, Jiangqing is way too generous. 5 million, that's not just an ex. That's practically the god of wealth. Yang Yu may act all high and mighty, but if she were given this money for free, she'd probably take it more gladly than anyone else." Yang Yu was mocked by everyone, and her face turned bright red with anger. "You don't know anything. I am doing this for her own good." No one agreed with her, and she was on the verge of breaking down. She turned around and tried to run away from the scene. At that moment, Jiang Qing, who had been watching the whole thing unfold from the sidelines, spoke up. That's enough. All of you, shut up. He looked at Yang Yu. His eyes filled with admiration. You really are the most unique girl I've ever met. I was a little surprised to hear what Jiang Qing said. Clearly, this is completely out of character for him. Yang Yu, however, was completely convinced that it was her level-headed and independent persona that had won Jiang Qing over. She looked shy. I just did what I thought was right. I really hate girls who only care about money theory. Just so materialistic. I've always believed that even if I were so poor I had to beg for food, I couldn't abandon my principles and get something for nothing. Jiang Qing nodded in agreement and praised her, saying, You really have such backbone, completely different from a vulgar woman like Shining. You deserve my praise. But as for Shining, I'm going to punish that vulgar woman. When Jiang Qing mentioned me, he gritted his teeth. It was as if he truly hated me. Yang Yu was overjoyed. She looked at me smugly with the air of a victor. Unfortunately, what Jiang Qing said next completely took her by surprise. This Shining is so tacky. So I've decided to bury her in money and let her rot and stink while lying on it. What did you say? Before Yang Yu had even had a chance to process what he just said, Jiang Qing took out his phone and started transferring money to me. I received 100,000 yuan in my Alipay account. 20,000 yuan has been credited to my Alipay account. After several beeps sounded in quick succession, I added up the amount. Jiang Qing had probably transferred me a little over 1 million. Yang Yu looked at Jiang Qing in disbelief. Didn't you say you were going to punish her? Jiang Qing looked completely sincere. That's right. I punished her with the very thing you hate most. Money. Aren't you satisfied? Yang Yu's expression changed several times before she finally realized that Jiang Qing was deliberately playing a prank on her. You did that on purpose to make me mad at her, didn't you? Jiang Qing put his phone away. You're just figuring that out now. You're so dumb. Yang Yu blushed and asked Jiang Qing. She took so much money from you. Why are you still helping her? I have the money and I'm willing to do it. It's none of your business. When she heard that answer, she was so angry she was speechless. But he didn't dare say anything more to Jiang Qing. In the end, he slunk away under everyone's gaze. When they saw her walk away, the crowd dispersed. I looked at Jiang Qing and quickly thanked him. He added, But as for the money you transferred to me, I won't pay back a single penny. I know I'm being a little ungrateful. But what's love anyway? I'm sick and tired of struggling without money. These days, I hold on tight to every penny I have. I thought Jiang Qing would look down on me for being too materialistic. To my surprise, he playfully tapped me on the head. If I'm giving it to you, just take it. It's just a few odds and ends. I wasn't planning on taking it back anyway, but it's actually pretty funny to watch her act all high and mighty. Next time she does that, I'll keep transferring money to you. As soon as he finished speaking, he left. As I watched his back, I actually felt a sudden urge to bow to him. I don't know what good deeds I must have done to deserve an act like this. To think I actually turned down his money in my past life. I really didn't know a good thing when I saw it. That evening, after I finished class and returned to the dorm, I saw Yang Yu with tears in her eyes pouring her heart out to one of her roommates, Wang Qi. After hearing her exaggerated account, Wang Qi berated me. I really wouldn't have thought Shining could be so disgusting. They'll do anything for money. They have absolutely no scruples. How shameless. When I heard that, I said I wasn't surprised at all. After all, right from the start, Yang Yu had been trying to drive a wedge between me and my roommate and bribe them with small favors. Before long, Wang Qi was won over by her and began picking on me at every turn. And just then, Yang Yu stepped forward to play the good guy. However, her other roommate, Jiang Shu, never bought into her act. She is a rich girl. She's a bit aloof and she didn't join in on their conversation this time either. When they saw me come in, Yang Yu and Wang Qi started making snide remarks to me. These days, people really do laugh at the poor, but not at prostitutes. It's really unfair that so many people spend decades studying hard only to end up earning less than others who just sit back and relax. That was a very malicious thing to say. I was so disgusted by what they said that I stood up, ready to confront them. But no sooner had I steadied myself than I heard my phone ring again. I received 100,000 yuan in my Alipay account. In an instant, Yang Yu and Wang Qi's faces turned as grim as if they were visiting a grave. I was taken aback, too. So I took out my phone to take a look. It turns out Jiangqing had indeed continued to transfer money to me, although I was happy to have received 100,000 yuan out of the blue. I was a little puzzled as to why this had happened. I just sent Jiangqing a question mark. Jiang Shu, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up. Jiangqing is my older brother. He just told me today that if any of you pick on Shining, I should let him know and he'll transfer money to Shining. If you want to watch Shining make a fortune, then go ahead and keep talking. Anyway, my family has more money than we can ever spend. Upon hearing Jiang Shu's words, both of them looked extremely displeased. They wanted to snap at Jiang Shu, but now that they know her true identity, they're even more afraid to. They want to curse at me, but they're afraid I'll strike it rich. Finally, after exchanging a glance, the two of them silently went to bed, seeing that they had finally quieted down. Jiang Shu snorted derisively. You finally shut up. Then she turned her head and looked at me with a questioning expression. Come clean. What's the deal between you and my brother? Jiang Shu was curious about the connection between Jiangqing and me. So I just told the truth. Jiangqing and I were technically dating, but actually we're not really that close. At the time, his ex-girlfriend was hounding him, so he used me as a cover, saying I was his new girlfriend, since I was also being harassed by a creepy upperclassman at the time. I used that as an excuse to agree to pretend to be in a relationship with him. Actually, behind the scenes, we've never even held hands. Later, he ran into me while I was working at a bar and I was being harassed by a customer. He was the one who beat up the guest. It's just that I haven't had a chance to thank him yet. He angrily broke up with me. Although I didn't think we were dating out of respect, I nodded in agreement. I thought we were at the very least business partners who parted ways on good terms. But who would have thought that Jiangqing would suddenly get so angry? He actually asked me if I was working here just for the money. I nodded as if it were the most natural thing in the world. My mom is so sick and we need a lot of money. If I don't work, who's going to pay me? I didn't expect that after saying all that, he would suddenly pull out some money to humiliate me. I have to admit, I'm pretty confused myself. But no matter what, the fact that he's my money god won't change. After hearing about my past with Jiangqing, Jiang Shu smiled with a hint of innuendo. My brother may be pretty generous with his money, but he doesn't just hand it out to his exes. He's a little different with you. You know, I didn't take it seriously. We made a couple of small talk remarks and then went to sleep. But this time, I didn't sleep very soundly. I kept having dreams. In my dream, I was right after I had passed away in my previous life. Jiangqing held my body in his arms. His eyes filled with remorse. Then I saw him ruin Yang Yu's rich boyfriend. They also bundled them together and sold them to Southeast Asia. When he visited my grave, he cried bitterly and kept saying, "It's my fault. I am late." Just as I was dreaming this, I jolted awake and sat up in bed. I just can't seem to calm down. I took out my phone and sent Jiangqing a WeChat message. I asked him straight out, "Jiangqing, do you like me?" After I sent it, the chat window kept showing that the other person was typing. But after waiting for a long time, Jiangqing finally replied, "What would you like to eat tomorrow? I'll bring it to you." Since he answered in such a way that didn't address my question, I had a pretty good idea of the answer. I thought for a moment and replied, "Luoxifen noodles, I guess." He replied, "Okay." I turned off my cell phone, getting ready to go back to sleep. But then I heard Jiang Shu answer a call and complain angrily, "Damn it, is my brother crazy? Asking me what Luoxifen is at this hour." The very next day, right after class, Jiangqing sent me a WeChat message. "Come out. I walked to the bottom of the dorm building. Jiangqing looked at me with a slightly awkward expression. With a stiff, awkward motion, he handed me a steaming bowl of luocefen. This piece of junk stinks to high heaven. It smells like. Ugh. What kind of hobby is this? Seeing the look of disgust on his face, I even wonder if what I saw in my past life was just an illusion. Jiangqing, why don't you just keep your mouth shut? Back in my dorm, I had just opened a package of luocefen to eat. Yang Yu said disdainfully. I thought I was bringing you something nice, but it turns out to be just a bowl of luocefen. It seems that in Jiangqing's eyes, you're just as cheap as luocefen. I ignored her and kept eating, but when she saw that Jiang Shu wasn't in the dorm, she wouldn't let it go. I was just going along with it on a whim. Did you actually take it seriously? You're not still daydreaming about marrying into a wealthy family, are you? Jiangqing is a rich kid from the Beijing elite circle. With a background like yours, you can forget about marrying into a wealthy family. Get real. In this life, you have to rely on yourself. Don't count on others to take care of you in the next life. As soon as she finished her last sentence, I took out my phone and put it on speakerphone. Jiangqing, did you hear that? Hurry up and transfer the money to me. Jiangqing was incredibly quick. Another 500,000 yuan was credited to my account right away. I looked at the balance in my account and counted it several times. Then I deliberately waved it in front of Yang Yu. You're right. Jiangqing was just toying with me. I'm so miserable. All he gives me is money. Yang Yu immediately felt sick to her stomach as if she had swallowed a fly. She glared at me with hatred. What are you so smug about? You'll be crying soon enough. I didn't take what she said seriously. But I didn't expect the caregiver who looks after my mom in the evenings to call. She said my mom wasn't doing well and fainted because she was so upset. I rushed to the hospital right away. Fortunately, my mom is okay. The doctor said she'll recover after a few days of rest. Just make sure you don't get upset by anything else. After seeing the doctor off, I asked my aunt a few questions. After all, my mom had been recovering really well. So, logically speaking, she shouldn't have suddenly fainted. My aunt said she was cooking at the time, and it was my best friend who was with my mom. As soon as my friend left, my mom suddenly fainted. When I heard that, I immediately turned on the home security cameras. I discovered that it was actually Yang Yu who had come to my house. Because we used to be best friends and we grew up together, my mom didn't feel the need to be on her guard around her. After she came into my house, she first pretended to be concerned about my mom. Then, as if hesitating to speak, she told my mom, "Auntie, don't you find it strange how Ning Ning got the money to pay for your medical treatment? Didn't Ning Ning say that a kind-hearted person made a donation?" I was always afraid my mom would worry too much, so I didn't tell her the truth. I just said it was a donation from a kind stranger. I never expected this to become a way to provoke my mom. Upon hearing my mother's words, Yang Yu laughed sarcastically. That's impossible. Besides, even if some kind-hearted person donated money, they wouldn't hire a nanny for you. To be honest, Ning Ning at school. I'm telling you this because I'm afraid she'll get hurt. Please do something about her. You don't know people are now calling Ning Ning the schools. I actually thought you were the one who told Ning Ning to do this. Since that's not the case, please talk some sense into her. She's still so young. If she catches a serious illness, her whole life will be ruined. When my mom heard what she said, she was so upset that she started gasping for breath. She kept saying, "That's impossible. Ning Ning isn't that kind of person." But Yang Yu left my house without even looking back. She had only been gone a few minutes when my mom couldn't handle the shock and fainted. I watched the video, clenching my fists in anger. All right, Yang Yu, since you're so eager to die, then I'll grant your wish. While my mom was asleep, I organized all the evidence regarding Yang Yu and the department chair. Then I packaged it up and posted it online. I was thoughtful enough to find the department chair's wife's email address and sent her a copy as well. His wife didn't disappoint me either. She stormed right into the SCH and beat up Yang Yu. He even had their intimate photos developed and distributed them everywhere. Yang Yu went from being an inspirational young woman whom everyone admired to a pariah whom everyone wanted to shun. She also lost her eligibility for direct admission to graduate school. The final outcome was that she was placed on probation. But I know deep down that this punishment is nowhere near enough. Once I had finished all that, my mom woke up. I made sure to explain the truth to her right away and clearly told her where the money came from. It's just that my mom was still a little worried because of what Yang Yu said. Plus, the fact that my ex inexplicably paid me an exorbitant breakup settlement is indeed a bit unusual. I'm worried that worrying too much might slow down her recovery, just as I was trying to find a way to talk her out of it. Jiang Qing and Jiang Shu arrived at the hospital. Jiang Qing was still holding a bouquet of flowers and he blushed a little when he saw me. Jiang Shu spoke up first. My brother and I heard about this and rushed right over. Don't worry. Just leave it all to us. Next. Jiang Qing went to my mother's bedside and very sincerely explained that he was the ex-boyfriend who had given me the money. After my mom heard about it, she was very polite to him and said we would definitely find a way to pay him back later. Jiang Shu chimed in. Auntie, don't feel bad about it. My brother paid for this because he likes shining. Besides, he's a bit of a soft touch. This amount of money is nothing to him. Exactly. Jiang Qing didn't realize she was scolding him. He just kept grinning foolishly and agreeing with her. My mom is still insisting that I pay her back, though. But her emotions have calmed down a lot. She fell asleep very quickly. I saw brother Jiang and his sister off. Jiang Shu, however, ran very fast and in no time she was out of sight. Only Jiang Qing and I were left walking side by side. Maybe it was because of what happened in the hospital room a little while ago, but the atmosphere between us was really awkward. I was about to speak up to break the silence, but Jiang Qing spoke at the same time. What I said in the hospital room, I meant it. It wasn't just to comfort your mom. Ning. Actually, when I asked you to help me deal with my ex before, I was just kidding. That wasn't even my ex. I really do want you to be my girlfriend. Why don't you think about it? I'm actually not bad. I turned to look at him and asked tentatively. Aren't you afraid I'm just after your money? Isn't that even better? Who in all of City A is richer than me? Why would I be afraid? I thought carefully about what he said. I have to say what he said really does make a lot of sense. Jiang Qing and I are back together and my mom has recovered as well. After she was discharged from the hospital, Jiang Qing hired 2 more caregivers especially for my mom. I stayed with my mom 24 hours a day and made sure she was never left alone, not giving Yang Yu another chance to spout nonsense and provoke her. At the same time, our relationship was common knowledge throughout the entire school. After all, Jiang Qing is known as the Prince of Beijing's political circles. Although he himself thought the nickname was pretty silly, he was indeed a prominent figure at school. That's why our relationship attracted so much attention. When Yang Yu found out, she was so angry she nearly died. But there wasn't much she could do. After all, she was now like a rat in the street, with everyone out to get her wherever she went. People made fun of her. She had no choice but to stay in her dorm. Perhaps the stress was just too much for her, and she ended up getting very sick. But when I woke up again, it was as if she were a different person. Her gaze was no longer timid. Instead, it was filled with venom. She stared at me and asked through gritted teeth. Ning, you must have been reborn too, right? So that's why you've ruined my life like this. You must have been the one who leaked the story about me and the department chair, too. You're so cruel. When I heard what she said, I was taken aback for a moment. I really didn't expect her to have been reborn too. But I guess that's for the best. Otherwise, there's no point in me getting my revenge. I ignored what she said and just stared at her with a look that said she was an idiot. Have you been reading too many novels? Reincarnation. I've even traveled through time. If you're sick, go get treated. Don't make people sick of you here. Yang Yu, however, was convinced that I must have been reborn. It doesn't matter if you don't admit it, but let me tell you this. Since I killed you in our last life, you'll be defeated by me in this one too. You idiot. Instead of wasting time arguing with me, you should go get checked out at the hospital. I heard the department chair went to the infectious disease hospital yesterday. I'm not going to catch any nasty diseases. So stop cursing me. But even though she was all talk, her body told a different story. That same afternoon, a classmate took a photo of her at the infectious diseases department of a certain hospital and posted it online. At this point, even if she wasn't sick, no one would believe her. By the time the news reached the dorm, even Wang Qi, who had always been her lackey, no longer supported her. In fact, they were the ones who criticized him the most harshly. You're so dirty. Someone this dirty should move out of our dorm and not infect the rest of us. What's the point of someone like you going to college? You might as well just go work the streets. Yang Yu never imagined that the person who had been fawning over her in her past life would actually speak to her like that. They immediately started wrestling with each other. You're nothing but a dog by my side. How dare you talk to me like the T? Do you believe me when I say I'll have my boyfriend kill you? But Yang Yu was no match for Wang Qi. He was beaten really badly. Since she was the one who started it, this situation can only be considered a mutual fight. She didn't dare tell her advisor either. Otherwise, she would just be expelled from school. In the end, she had no choice but to be kicked out of the dorm. As she left, she kept muttering to herself, "Why is it different from my previous life? Why exactly?" Then she turned her fire on me again. Ning ning. It must be you. You. What on earth did you do? You just can't stand seeing me do better than you. Just you wait. I beat you once and I'll beat you again. I sighed, pressing my hand to my forehead. It was clearly Wang Qi who sent her away this time. But she didn't scold Wang Qi instead. She only scolded me. That's interesting. She seems just like the reincarnation of Unling Rang no matter who bullied her. She only blamed Shining. But I certainly don't care about her hatred. On the contrary, I was afraid she didn't hate me enough. Of course, Yang Yu wasn't going to just sit back and wait for disaster to strike. Shortly after regaining her senses, she found Lu Chang, her boyfriend from her previous life, a rich second-generation heir. In her previous life, she and Lu Chang were sold to Southeast Asia by Jiangqing. So, she believed that Lu Chang would definitely join forces with him to take us on. It's just a shame that Lu Chang has no memories of his past life. Also, because of what's going on between Yang Yu and the department chair, he really dislikes her. Yang Yu couldn't believe it. She grabbed Lu Chang's hand and began telling him about her past life, hoping he would remember. Don't you remember? You said I was the one you loved most. I'm supposed to be your girlfriend. So why are you treating me like this? Lu Chang was furious. Seeing her pestering him like that, he kicked her twice with all his might. Are you out of your mind? You've already slept with that old man. And now you're trying to pull one over on me. I'm going to kill you. Yang Yu was beaten up by him, but she still wouldn't give up. She felt that in her previous life, Lu Chang had been deeply obsessed with her body. So, as long as she spends one night with him, he'll still be unable to resist her. She managed to get her hands on some medicine and slipped it into Lu Chang's drink. Then, she slipped into his room. After a night of passion, when Lu Chang woke up that morning, he saw Yang Yu, who was completely naked and looking bashful, and was so startled that he let out a scream. After beating Yang Yu nearly to death, he immediately went to the hospital for a checkup and received various preventive shots. After getting the shot, he was still so angry that he immediately posted photos of Yang Yu in bed online. Now Yang Yu isn't just a huge hit at school, it even went viral all over the internet. The incident had a negative impact on the school, which ultimately decided to expel her. But before long, Yang Yu's mother came to the school. Yang Yu's mother was dressed in a very alluring way. She was also quite outspoken. First, she launched into a tirade against the school administrators. And then she took off her clothes in the office and falsely accused the principal of sexually assaulting her. Fortunately, the principal was experienced enough to record the entire incident on video and call the police right away, which prevented the false accusation from succeeding. Interestingly enough, when the police arrived, they discovered that Yang Yu's mother was an old acquaintance. It turns out her mother was in the sex trade. She's often taken in by the police. In the blink of an eye, the news spread throughout the entire school. So, Yang Yu, who's always prided herself on being above it all, actually has a mother who does this kind of work. That really is mind-blowing. Actually, I've known about this for a long time. When she was a child, Yang Yu lived next door to us. Her mom always brought different men home. Before long, word of this had spread throughout the entire small town. Yang Yu was often the butt of people's jokes. I couldn't stand by and watch. So I always stood up for her. After that, we became good friends. I had thought that she would be grateful to me later on. But it wasn't until after I died in my previous life that I realized she hated me for knowing her past. She even thought I was the one who spread the news about her mother. But the fact is, even after being reborn, I still want to take revenge on her. I never thought of using something like that against her either. It's only because she has a dark side herself that she thinks others are the same. Yang Yu began to lose her mind due to a series of setbacks. She blamed all her misfortunes on me. Ning. I'll get back at you. She chose to take me down with her. One evening, she was driving a car and just barreled right toward me. At that moment, I happened to be taking a walk with Jiangqing. Faced with the oncoming car, Jiangqing instinctively pushed me out of the way. The car was smashed to pieces and Yang Yu's fate remains unknown. Thanks to Jiangqing's protection, I emerged unscathed. Jiangqing, however, sustained a minor injury, but just to make me feel sorry for him. He actually held his tiny wound and put on an act. Ning, you'd better take responsibility for me. I was crying my eyes out and nodded without hesitation. I'll take responsibility. I'll definitely take responsibility. But let's hurry to the hospital now. Upon receiving my reply, Jiangqing gave me a firm kiss on the forehead. Why go to the hospital? It's just a minor injury. It will probably be healed by the time we get there. I immediately stopped crying and started laughing. Jiangqing gave me a disdainful look. Why don't you just stop smiling? You look worse when you smile than when you cry. Jiangqing, I think we should go to the hospital. I'm not going. Don't worry about me. I am really fine. No, I just wanted to ask if there's any painkiller I can buy for you. Later, Jiangqing proposed to me. I married him. He's been really nice to me. My sister-in-law, Jiang Shu, is also doing her best to help me adjust to life in a wealthy family. My mother was also taken to the Jiang family's home where she was well cared for. However, even after getting married, I didn't forget to make more money. I know Jiangqing loves me very much, but no relationship in this world is stable. Jiangqing might stop loving me one day, but money will never betray me. And if I had the money, when I'm feeling down, I could lie in a serene mountain hot spring, apply a face mask and let my tears fall. You can also go to New York to cry, go to London to cry, go to Paris to cry, go to Rome to cry while living it up, and cry however you want, instead of buying 2 jeans of chicken feet and crying while drinking loose leaf tea. All in all, I've been pretty satisfied with this life. As for Yang Yu, her life was a real struggle. She had tried to run me over earlier but failed and ended up being hit herself, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. Although she narrowly escaped a prison sentence, her mother subjected her to all kinds of insults and beatings. Later, her mother grew old and could no longer earn a living. She actually had her sights set on her daughter. After all, even though Yang Yu is paralyzed, she's still very beautiful. Older men who like her are still willing to pay. And just like that, her mother officially began taking clients at home. I wonder if back when she was spreading those false rumors about me, she ever thought that karma would eventually come back to haunt her. Many years later, she was on her deathbed. She called me wanting to see me one last time. After I had reassured Jiangqing, who was staying home to take care of the kids, I promised that once I was done with my work, I would take the whole family on a vacation. Only after Jiangqing had repeatedly confirmed that I still loved him did he finally feel at ease. But after I got the call, it took me a long time to try to recall her face. On the phone, she apologized to me. I'm the one who ruined your life. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? I gave a faint smile. If you feel sorry for me, then just go die. Want me to forgive you? Don't even think about it. After hanging up the phone, I went back to my busy work.